One of the things that we'll do a lot is solving equations by factoring, and we'll get to the graphing here in a minute. So if we have an equation like this, x squared plus x equals 42, this is a quadratic, so we can't take the square root of both sides because you've got that x in there. You've got an x squared and an x, so we can't solve it using the tools that we would for like linear equations. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it equal to 0. So x squared plus x, and I'm going to subtract 42 from both sides. So minus 42 equals 0. Now we're going to factor this left side. So this is one of our more straightforward factors. The minus tells me that the signs are different. So I'm looking for factors of 42 that add up to 1. So I think positive 7 and negative 6 will work. And now, since we're multiplying these two things, so we multiply these two things together and we get 0, that means one of them has to be 0. So either x plus 7 is 0 or x minus 6 is 0. And we solve those two mini equations. We're going to subtract 7 from both sides. We get x equals negative 7. We're going to add 6 to both sides. X equals 6. Okay, so those are the solutions to this equation. All right, let's try out another one like this. Okay, we want to solve this by factoring. We need to get everything on the same side. It has to be equal to 0 before you can factor this. It is my personal preference to keep the term with x squared positive, so I'm going to add 9x to both sides, and I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So that's what this looks like. So now it's time to factor this. This is going to be an umbrella factor. All right, so the minus sign tells me that the signs are different. So I have a plus and a minus. And I'm going to umbrella, and I get 10. I want factors of 10 that add up to 9. So 10 and negative 1 should work. And we need to divide this by 2. So we get x plus 5 and 2x minus 1. Now we are not done. A common mistake here is to just stop at this step and say, look, I factored. Not good enough. You have to solve. So that means that one of these parentheses has to be equal to 0. Either x plus 5 equals 0 or 2x minus 1 equals 0. So we solve these two mini equations. We get x equals negative 5. That was supposed to be an x. That's a disaster. And this mini equation, you're going to add 1 and then divide by 2, and you get 1/2. I can't deal with that. There we go. All right, we'll do just a couple more examples of this. Okay, we want to solve this by factoring, so we're going to pull everything to the same side. It doesn't matter which side, I just kind of prefer the x squared to be positive, so I'm going to subtract 20. And now we're going to factor this. That minus sign tells me that the signs are different. I need factors of 20 that add up to 8, so I think positive 10 and negative 2 should work. Then we're going to set both of these equal to 0. Now, if you don't need to write this step, you don't have to. You can skip writing that and you can go straight to x equals negative 10, as long as you know what you're doing. Or x minus 2 equals 0, add 2 to both sides, so x equals 2. So we have two solutions to this, 2 and negative 10. All right, one more of these, and then we'll do something a little different. So I'm going to pull everything to the left side, 2x squared. I'm going to subtract 3x and subtract 2. And we've got another umbrella factor. The minus means that the signs are different. And when we umbrella, we get 4. So the factors of 4 that add up to negative 3 are negative 4 and 1. We need to divide that by 2. We'll have to come over here. Gives us x minus 2 and 2x plus 1. You have factored, but you're not done solving yet. To solve, you have to set these both equal to 0 and then finish solving those mini equations. So we get x equals 2 and x equals negative 1/2. All right, so let's check out what this might look like in more of an applied problem. Marco hits a golf ball into the air from the third level of a driving range that's 48 feet high. So this is one of those like fancy driving range things that you're up here and then you hit a golf ball and it goes like that. Here's the function. Notice it's a negative 16t squared. So we know this is a parabola opening down. When would the ball hit the ground? Okay, we want to know when does it hit the ground over here. So we want to know when is the height 0, because when it hits the ground, that means the height's 0. So we want this to be 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 48. That's what we're trying to solve. At what time does the height equal 0? So I think we can factor this actually. I think we can factor out a negative 16. I think that's a GCF. So when you factor out a negative 16, that's going to leave you with t squared minus 2t minus 3. All right. Now we're going to keep factoring. We'll just leave the negative 16 alone. T and t signs are going to be different. And I'm looking for factors of 3 that add up to negative 2. So it looks like 3 and 1. Now I'm going to set both of those equal to 0. Now negative 16 out here, that's never going to be equal to 0. So you can ignore that. So either t minus 3 equals 0 or t plus 1 equals 0. So I add 3 to both sides, subtract 1 from both sides. And I have two answers, either negative 1 or 3. Now, these are t seconds. It makes no sense to have negative seconds. So my answer is after 3 seconds, the ball will hit the ground. All right, we're going to do one more example in this video. So a baseball is thrown from the upper deck of a stadium 108 feet above the ground, and this function gives the height of the baseball t seconds after it's thrown. So we start up pretty high and we throw the baseball and it falls down. So we know how long does it take. Okay, we're looking for time for the ball to reach the ground. Okay, we want to know how long it takes to hit there. So since we're looking for time, that's what we don't know. So we have negative 16 t squared plus 32t plus 128. And when the ball hits the ground, the height is 0. So we're going to set this equal to 0. And this is what we need to solve. So just like in the last problem, I think I can factor out a negative 16. It's going to give me t squared minus 2t, and I'm pretty sure that goes in evenly. Let's double check. Yep, 8. So minus 8. So 0 equals negative 16. We're going to factor this. So let's see, the minus means the signs are different. We're looking for factors of 8 that add up to negative 2. So 4 and 2. And then we're going to set these equal to 0. Now, negative 16 is never going to equal 0, so ignore that. So either t minus 4 equals 0 or t plus 2 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides. We get 4. Subtract 2 from both sides. We get negative 2. Remember, we're looking for how long it takes a time, so negative 2 doesn't make any sense. So 4 seconds. Now, the next question is actually a throwback to a previous topic. We want to know the maximum height of this ball. So we want to know this point. So notice that is a vertex. Okay, this is a vertex question like we did before. Now, this equation is not in vertex form, so we're going to have to use that. Remember, x equals negative b over 2a. So x is, let's see, negative b. B in this problem is 32, so negative 32 divided by 2 times a is negative 16. So we get negative 32 divided by negative 32, which is 1. Now, clearly, this is not the maximum height. It doesn't make any sense that the ball would go like 1 foot okay? This is how many seconds it takes to reach the maximum height. This is the x value. What we're actually being asked for is the y value. So to find the y value, you're just going to plug in negative 16 times 1 squared plus 32 times 1 plus 128. And when you plug all that in, you get 16, negative 16 plus 32, which is 16, and 128 plus 16, how about 144? 144 feet.